I didn't argue because arguing had never changed the shape of things. The words arrived lightly, like lint on a sweater. Ruin the photos. Nice pictures this year. As if the year itself could be arranged by cropping. I remember nodding. I remember smiling in the way you do when you're trying to look reasonable while something small and exact snaps inside your chest. My sister's tone was efficient. She was organizing, not excluding. That was the trick of it. My father chimed in like a chorus you'd heard before. No one said my child didn't belong. They just said what they wanted to see. I said nothing because silence had always been my role. I learned early that if I didn't make noise, the room stayed calm. Calm was prized. Calm was proof of maturity. Calm meant you were invited back next year. That night, after the house went quiet, I stood in the living room with the tree lit and blinking, the needles dropping like punctuation. I looked at the gifts I'd brought over earlier, wrapped carefully, labeled in my handwriting. My mother's scarf. My dad's book. My sister's candle set I'd hunted down because it was the brand she liked but never bought for herself. Even the little extras for my nephews, things I'd picked up without being asked. I didn't feel angry. I felt accurate. I slid each gift back into the bag I'd carried them in. The paper crinkled softly, embarrassed to be disturbed. It took less than 5 minutes. I turned off the tree lights before I left. That felt important, though I couldn't say why. At 7:23 the next morning, my phone buzzed on the nightstand. TARSCREMing. Got your RT%! I didn't answer right away. I fed the baby. I watched the steam from the kettle fog the kitchen window. I noticed how my hands were steady. Another message came through, then another, the punctuation escalating. I set the phone face down. There is a kind of peace that arrives when you stop participating in your own erasure. What finally pulled me back wasn't guilt. It was logistics. My partner stood in the doorway, reading my face the way you read weather. Do you want me to call your sister? They asked. It wasn't a challenge. It was an offer of muscle. No, I said. But I do want you to be there. We drove over late morning. I brought the baby. I didn't text ahead. The house was loud when we arrived. Children, adults, the television turned up to cover something unresolved. When my sister saw the car seat, her face did that quick calculation people do when the world doesn't match their plan. You weren't supposed to? She started. I know, I said, and stepped inside anyway. The tree was still lit now, aggressive in daylight. The empty space beneath it was obvious. My mother hovered near the kitchen, hands busy with nothing. My father stood too straight, as if posture could fix this. We had an understanding? My sister said, lower now. This was important. So was I said, and surprised myself by how calm it sounded. Not sharp. Not pleading. Just placed on the table like a fact. She opened her mouth again, then closed it. The children were watching, confused but alert in that way kids are when adults are about to show them something true. This was the moment authority entered, unmistakable not because it was loud, but because it was formal. My partner stepped forward and set the diaper bag down between us like a boundary marker. We're not staying long, they said. But we're not leaving either. Not like this. It wasn't a threat. It was a statement of terms. My father tried to joke, said something about timing, about how everyone was tired. My partner didn't laugh. Silence did the work. The joke with her. I took the gifts back. I said finally, because the absence needed a name. I didn't feel comfortable leaving them. My mother's face crumpled, then steadied. You could have told us, she said. I did, I said gently. I told you by bringing my child. I told you by not pretending this was fine. No one yelled. That's the part people don't believe later. They imagine a scene, a reckoning. What actually happened was smaller and harder. My sister sat down. My father looked at the floor. The kids wandered off, bored now that nothing explosive was happening. We just wanted one nice picture. My sister said, softer. I looked at my baby, drooling happily against my shoulder, unaware of being an aesthetic problem. This is what my life looks like, I said. If there isn't room for it, there isn't room for me. We stayed 20 minutes, long enough to be seen, long enough for the rule to change. When we left, my partner locked the car doors with that solid click that feels like punctuation again. Later that afternoon, my sister texted an apology that wasn't perfect. It talked about stress and tradition and how she hadn't meant it like that. I didn't correct every sentence. I didn't need to. I wrote back something short, we can talk later. I need things to be different. The gifts stayed in my closet until January. Some I returned. Some I gave away. One or two I kept, because I liked them and that felt like a small reclamation too. The photos from that year exist. I've seen them. They're nice. They're missing something, though. Not just a baby, but the illusion that exclusion can be framed as care. That illusion didn't survive the morning. What survived was quieter, a boundary that didn't shout, a dignity that didn't need applause, and a new understanding, shared whether anyone liked it or not. Calm is not the same as consent.